Alright guys, today I'm going to talk about the new Kimber K6XS revolver. The only way to really talk about a handgun in this category is to talk about other handguns like it. Because you don't have anything to compare it against. It's really kind of stupid just to talk about features and such that you can read about on the company website. So I'm going to compare it to the regular K6S, which is a fine firearm, and the Smith & Wesson 642, which I would think would be one of the main competitors to the K6XS. And I will give you all the information you'll need to decide which one you would rather have. So let's start out with the weight, since that's the main focus of this revolver, is to be, in my mind, a pocket carry revolver, which is why I bought it. Now, the K6S is a fine revolver, but it's a little too heavy for the pocket. It's just going to drag down. It's not going to be comfortable. It's a little out of that range. This is doable, and this is doable. I've carried this in my pocket for many years, and I'll show you more about that in a bit. But let's get it on the scale. Now, I didn't like the hoe grip, so I went to this grip, which is made by Crimson Trace. It is not a laser grip. It says down there, Crimson Trace. It is made by CT. It has a little larger finger grooves, but you only have two. The other one has three, but I have big sausage fingers. Didn't work good for me. So the weight is 15.6 ounces. So under a pound. So that's the magic number. You're under a pound, you're going to do all right. This does carry another round, so that adds weight. Another chunk of lead in there. Let's put the K6S on there. This is a great inside the waistband pistol or revolver, whatever you want to call it, but it does not do good in the pocket. It's 1 pound and then 7.2 ounces. So you're saving over 7 ounces by going to the K6XS. And let's put the old reliable on there, the Smith & Wesson J-frame. This is an Air Light. And we're at 14.7 ounces. So this is the aluminum air weight, I should say. I think Air Light is titanium, but this is aluminum framed like the K6S, and it is, of course, a 5-shot revolver. So this is a little lighter, and it's going to carry one less round, which is going to reduce the weight as well. I didn't bring ammo with me to do this review, so it really depends what kind of ammo you're carrying. Will change the weight. And when you're adding up the rounds, I mean, if you use a lighter round, a lighter bullet, it's going to reduce the overall weight significantly. So there's a big difference between this 162 grain lead bullet and, say, a 125 when you add it all up. So let's look at the barrel cylinder gap. Now on the K6XS, this is a .004 4 thousandths will fit, and the 5 thousandths will not fit. That's a no-go. So 4,000 is probably, that's on the tight side, but I can tell you I shot 100 rounds in rapid succession with this revolver, and I had no binding, so no expansion with the metal, and no fouling that caused it to malfunction or to get sluggish or to make the trigger heavy or to have it bind. So as tight as you can get it without binding, that's what you want, and that's what you get with this. My K6S, the steel version, the 4 fits and the 5 fits, but the 6 thousandths does not. Well, kind of, if you jam it in there, it goes halfway on one side. Let me try the other side. Yeah, maybe if you push it, but the 6 is kind of pushing. So it's between 5 and 6. And the J-frame, the 6,000 passes through. I don't have the 7, but it's about 6. So this is a little larger, not quite there yet. Let's talk about the cylinder throats. On the J-frame, I don't know if I can do this. Let me try to do this with one hand. A 4.52 bullet does not fit in the cylinder throats. I've shot many thousands of cast bullets to this gun, so it does work. However, it's important to note that these two will fit a cast bullet. A 4.52 bullet will fit into that and plunk all the way through. And same thing with the K6XS. I hate saying that name. I'll just show you here. Plunks right through. So what that means is your bullet, if you size 4.52, it will go down the barrel as 4.52. At least it'll hit the forcing cone at 4.52. If your cylinder throat is tighter, like this, if this is 3.575, which I suspect it is, then that 3.58 bullet is going to be swaged down before it hits the forcing cone. So that may or may not be a problem, more so with cast bullets, which is basically all I shoot. Jacketed bullets, not as big of a deal. Okay, let's talk about finish. Now, for some reason, in the year 2023, Kimber decided to put this crummy, crappy finish, the same finish that's on my 642. And they're probably going to say price point, but you know what? A Taurus can put Cerakote on a $250 revolver and sell it. So there's no reason why you're not Cerakoting an aluminum frame revolver. I'm sorry. But I want to get this in the sun so you can see. Now this is my daily carry. And as I said before, anyone that shows you a daily carry gun, if it's not looking like crap, they're just showing off a new gun. Can you see that chipping? Can you see that on the back right here? See how terrible that looks? And I know my camera's not good. This is not an iPhone. This is like a Canon PowerShot. So I don't even own a smartphone. See those like gouges, and I don't know if you can see it. Well, maybe it's too much sun. See how banged up that is? That still works fine, but they're buying a premium brand like a Smith or Kimber. I consider even more of a premium. You want a better finish. Cerakote's not going to look like that. Okay, now I've put 100 rounds through it. Let's look at the blast shield. I don't know if you can see that. Get some light. Maybe too much light. See right where the firing pin comes out? You can see the finish is already degrading. It's already starting to come off. That's 100 rounds. And I'm reluctant to scrub around the forcing cone with anything more than a nylon brush because, again, I will take off that finish. So the burn stains are just going to have to live with it. They're just going to stay there. If it was my stainless, then I could take a brush to it. You can see how I keep that a little cleaner. I can take a brush to it, but not on the aluminum, especially with that finish. So Taurus is the big winner there. They both kind of suck. Looking at the sights, the K6S has a dovetail rear and a pinned front, and that's good because, you know, you can put night sights like I have here. These are night sights. This one has a fixed trench sight, and it has, I don't know how they secure that. It does not look milled into the barrel like a Charter Arms, but they must have soldered that on somehow with a pin and soldered. But that's not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. As long as it hits point of aim, this means if I throw this pistol on the ground, if I drop it, bang it, kick it, there's nothing to move. So it's going to work good. As a combat pistol, you want those sights not to move. You want to expect the pistol or revolver to be banged around, and this will always shoot correctly. Unless you hit it so hard that you bend the sight, it's always going to shoot right. And this does shoot good for my 162 grain lead bullets. Whereas this one, if I hit that dovetail on the side hard enough, or just dropped it and it bang, it hits on that sight, you could drift it, right? So it's good and bad. Of course, the Smith has the same style, but their front sight is milled into the barrel there. So there's no removing that or modifying it. This one at least has a nice orange dot. And I will say the sights work well as far as you're able to get equal light on both sides. It's a good system. Let me show you how I shot. So this was the first 50 rounds. My best group was here. So there's my thumb. That's about 1 inch tall and about 1.5 inches wide to 2 inches wide. This is at 25 feet, which is a little larger, a little farther back than I would like to shoot normally. But as I was lowering the trigger, I was shooting a little bit off. You know, these are a little larger. That one's, I don't know, 2x2. This one I've got a few out, but this one I kind of really doubled down on. The rest that was relatively fast. But all of them are in the size of a human heart at 25 feet, so shoots accurately enough. The trigger, as you probably know, if you're already interested in Kimber, is very nice. Now the stainless is a little nicer. It's a little slicker. And once I get the cylinder to rotate, and you see that cylinder stop, drop right there, there's a little less space, I feel like, to go to the brake. On this one, now it is still braking in, so I expect it to get better as we go. But you get it all the way there, and there's like a little extra space to get the brake. But still a fine trigger. It's easy to stage, as a lot of people have already pointed out. This gun is so broken, it's actually broke. I had to change the hammer and the sear on this already. And there's no rifling left in the barrel, but it's pretty slick. But it's a little harder to stage, because once you get here, it wants to cam over. Unless you're very deliberate. Once you get there, it wants to keep going. So I can shoot the Kimbers a little better, but they're inherently about the same accuracy. So is this worth, especially at around the high 500s I bought this for. This is the 300 range. It's a smoking good deal. It gives you 6 rounds over what traditionally you had to get 5 rounds, which is amazing. And they didn't just take the same CAD drawing and just, you know, mill it out of aluminum. They actually changed the frames. So let's see if I can do this with my foot dexterity. So I'm holding the blast shields around the same, keeping them even. So if you look at the cylinder, the 38 Special is shorter and the frame is shorter. So they actually designed a new frame for this. But the grip frame is the same, so any grips you put on this double action only will fit on this double action only. But I'm surprised they did that, because it takes more time and money to do. But they did it, and I'm glad they did, because it saves weight and it makes it just that much more compact. And if you go to a K-frame, the K-frame was not designed to be a compact carry revolver. It was designed to be a military weapon. So they don't cut any corners. The J-frame, the Model 36 that first came out in all steel, was designed for concealed carry. So that's why it's better proportioned. If you take these proportions and just up it to a 6-cylinder, the K6XS is what you get. I'm surprised Smith has never invested in making a compact 6-shot revolver. They just keep using the same frame for hundreds of years, and it's really lacking at this point. And I'm glad Kimber saw the niche market there, the hole in the market, and they decided to fill it. Speed loaders for the Model 10 may or may not work. They don't work for me. My HKS ones don't work. So you either have to buy a specific Kimber one, or you can get those rubber deals. I do have a rubber speed strip that holds 6 at once, either the 2 at a time, or there's one that do 3 and 2, and there's one that does all 6. So those all work. The Zeta Industries ones work. I've tested them, and that's probably what I will be carrying with this revolver. So if you have any questions, let me know.